Welcome to the 13th session of your emotional regulation program with Dash Wellness. Today, we'll focus on emotional regulation in relationships. Effective emotional regulation can enhance your relationships and improve communication and connection. For this session preparation, set up your space, have writing tools ready, ensure good internet connection, and be ready to engage. Emotional regulation is crucial in relationships because it helps us manage our emotions in a way that fosters healthy interactions and deepens our connections with others. When we regulate our emotions effectively, we can communicate more clearly, resolve conflicts more amicably, and provide better support to those we care about. Without emotional regulation, relationships can become strained due to misunderstandings, unresolved conflicts, and emotional outbursts. This can lead to a breakdown in communication and a loss of trust. By practicing emotional regulation, we create a more supportive and nurturing environment in our relationships, allowing them to thrive. In relationships where emotional regulation is practiced, partners are able to express their feelings openly and constructively. Conflicts are approached with a problem-solving mindset, and both parties feel heard and respected. This fosters a sense of safety and trust, allowing for deeper connection and intimacy. On the other hand, relationships lacking emotional regulation often experience frequent misunderstandings, unresolved conflicts, and emotional outbursts. This can lead to feelings of frustration, resentment, and disconnection. Effective emotional regulation helps maintain harmony and mutual respect, ensuring that both partners can navigate challenges together. Emotional regulation is important in all types of relationships, not just romantic ones. In friendships, it allows for open and honest communication, helping to build trust and support. In family dynamics, it can reduce conflicts and foster a more harmonious living environment. In professional relationships, emotional regulation enables you to handle workplace stress and interactions with colleagues more effectively. Each type of relationship benefits from emotional regulation, enhancing overall well-being and satisfaction. Understanding how to regulate emotions in different contexts can improve the quality of your interactions and strengthen your connections with others. Reflect on a recent interaction with someone close to you. How did you handle your emotions during the interaction? Were there moments of conflict or connection? Understanding how you manage your emotions in relationships can provide insight into areas for improvement and growth. We will now go through a few techniques for emotional regulation in relationships. Here are a few techniques for emotional regulation in relationships. The first technique is active listening. Practice active listening by giving your full attention to the other person. Listen without interrupting or planning your response. Show empathy and understanding by acknowledging their feelings and perspectives. For example, you can nod or say, "I understand how you feel," to demonstrate that you are engaged and empathetic. Active listening helps build trust and respect in relationships, making the other person feel valued and heard. It can also prevent misunderstandings and foster a deeper connection. By truly listening, you create a safe space for open and honest communication, allowing both parties to express themselves freely. This can lead to more meaningful and fulfilling relationships. Regular practice of active listening can also enhance your ability to understand and respond to the emotional needs of others, strengthening your relationships over time. The next technique is effective communication. Use I statements to express your feelings and needs. For example, say, "I feel upset when," instead of "you make me upset." This approach can help reduce defensiveness and foster open communication. I statements focus on your own experience rather than blaming the other person, which can lead to a more constructive and empathetic dialogue. Effective communication also involves being clear and concise about your needs and boundaries. By expressing yourself openly and respectfully, you can avoid misunderstandings and build a stronger foundation of trust and respect in your relationships. This method encourages accountability and ownership of one's emotions, fostering a collaborative environment where both parties can work towards mutual understanding and resolution. Consistent practice of effective communication techniques can lead to more harmonious and satisfying relationships, enhancing emotional intimacy and connection. Setting healthy boundaries is another crucial aspect of emotional regulation in relationships. Boundaries protect your emotional well-being and ensure that your needs are respected. Communicate your boundaries clearly and respectfully to others. For example, you might say, "I need some time to myself after work to unwind." Setting boundaries helps prevent resentment and burnout, allowing you to maintain a healthy balance in your relationships. It also teaches others how to treat you with respect and consideration, fostering a more positive and supportive environment. Healthy boundaries create a sense of security and predictability in relationships, allowing for greater trust and cooperation. They also empower individuals to take responsibility for their own emotional needs, promoting self-care and personal well-being. Over time, practicing boundary setting can lead to more fulfilling and respectful relationships, where both parties feel valued and understood. Effective conflict resolution skills are essential for navigating disagreements and finding mutually acceptable solutions. When conflicts arise, focus on finding common ground and addressing the issue rather than blaming or criticizing. Use active listening and I statements to communicate your perspective, and be open to understanding the other person's viewpoint. Collaborative problem-solving can help you find solutions that satisfy both parties, reducing tension and strengthening your relationship. Practice patience and empathy during conflicts, and remember that resolving disagreements constructively can lead to deeper understanding and connection. Developing strong conflict resolution skills can transform potential sources of tension into opportunities for growth and improvement in relationships. By approaching conflicts with a problem-solving mindset, you can maintain a positive and cooperative dynamic, enhancing the overall quality of your interactions. Providing emotional support is a vital part of emotional regulation in relationships. Offer your presence and empathy to others during difficult times. Simple acts of kindness and encouragement can make a significant difference. Listen actively, validate their feelings, and offer reassurance. Emotional support strengthens your relationships by showing that you care and are there for each other through thick and thin. It fosters a sense of safety and trust, allowing both parties to feel understood and valued. Regularly offering and receiving emotional support can deepen your emotional bonds and create a strong foundation for enduring relationships. Being emotionally supportive also promotes a sense of community and interconnectedness, enhancing the overall well-being of all parties involved. Let's walk through setting a healthy boundary together. Think about a specific boundary you need to set in one of your relationships. This could be related to personal space, time, or emotional needs. For example, you might feel overwhelmed by constant phone calls from a friend and need to set a boundary around your availability. First, identify the boundary you need to set. For example, you might decide that you need an hour of uninterrupted time after work to relax and recharge. Next, think about how to communicate this boundary clearly and respectfully. You might say, "I need an hour of quiet time after work each day to relax. During this time, I won't be answering phone calls or messages." Explain the reason for your boundary to help the other person understand. For example, "I find that I am much more relaxed and able to enjoy our conversations when I've had some time to unwind first." Reinforce the boundary if it is challenged. If your friend calls during your quiet time, remind them gently, "Remember, I need this hour to myself. I'll call you back when I'm done." After setting the boundary, reflect on how it went. How did the other person respond? How did you feel about the interaction? Write down your reflections in your journal. Consider whether any adjustments are needed to maintain the boundary effectively. In addition to setting boundaries, try practicing the other techniques for emotional regulation in relationships, such as active listening, effective communication, conflict resolution, and providing emotional support. Spend a few minutes each day reflecting on your emotional state and applying these techniques in your interactions. Write down your observations in your journal. Reflect on how these techniques affect your relationships and emotional well-being. Consistent practice will enhance your skills and improve your relationships over time. To close today's session, take a moment to reflect on what you've learned about emotional regulation in relationships. Consider how these strategies can help you navigate relationship dynamics with greater ease and confidence. Write down any final thoughts or reflections in your journal. Reflect on the techniques you've practiced and the changes you've observed in your emotional state. This reflection helps solidify your learning and sets the stage for continuous growth. In our next session, we will engage in a weekly reflection and goal-setting session. You will reflect on your emotional regulation journey, assess your progress, and set goals for continuing your practice. This reflection will help you solidify your emotional regulation habits and plan for ongoing growth. Join us as we consolidate our learning and prepare for the next steps in our emotional regulation journey. Thank you for joining our emotional regulation program. We hope it was helpful and look forward to seeing you in the upcoming sessions. The information provided in this emotional regulation program, including all content, materials, exercises, and resources, is intended for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other licensed health provider with any questions you may have regarding mental health and/or medical conditions.